Hi, welcome to another episode of the Out of Office Club. Thank you, first of all, for listening again and coming back to listening me talk about travel, digital nomad life for, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes. Today I want to, I don't know, talk about something maybe a bit different or do this podcast a little bit different because when I started this podcast, that is now I think 2-3 months ago, I had not even, I think just over 1,000 followers. I didn't really know where this was going yet and how I wanted to do this. But since then, I've grown to just over 10,000 followers. I now have a course live. I get lots of messages from people. I've gotten also so much feedback, which is so valuable and I'm so happy with because like I said, I didn't really know where I wanted to take this podcast, what I really wanted to share. And at first, I didn't really have an audience. Like my first podcast, I think 4 people listened to it. And that was me, my dad, my sister, and some random person who found it online. But now suddenly I have 100 people listening to it every week, which I'm so grateful for. And it's so much fun to see this growth that I also didn't expect to happen quite quickly. But I think because I didn't have any audience at the beginning, I focused a lot more on providing value and tips. And while I really enjoyed this, the feedback that I'm getting from other people is that they would love for me to go a bit more personal, not just talking about what I recommend other people to do, but more about what my experience was. And maybe also, of course, what I learned from that and what I can recommend others to do. There's still tips and value in that, but in a more personal way, because I think now, after also doing lots of content creation and seeing what other people are doing and finding a bit more my way in what I want to do, I'm noticing I don't exactly have a place right now to share much personal updates. Um, my course is, of course, just tips. I don't share anything personal in there apart from a little bit of experience, but not really any background. Then I have my social media content, which is super fun to make, but I mean, people's attention spans are very limited. So I also create content that is more easily digestible and still very focused on value. But that means that I now have a podcast where I share even more tips and value. And then where is my more personal kind of um, relaxing content that focuses on connection? And I think that's where I want to take my podcast because I have so many tips and fun stories and experiences and things that I've just done over the past 10 years that I think are a lot more fun to share and give you a much better insight in what traveling full time and solo travel in general, but also working for yourself and freelancing really is like. And that goes beyond just giving some tips. For that, I need to be a bit more open and share what I actually felt like and how it was. And some stories are funny. I think some are maybe not so much, but I think those are more more fun to tell, but also I think more interesting to listen to. So that is why I think from now on, these podcasts might be a little bit different. And I'm just going to choose something to talk about and share more personal updates on that. I also really like doing that in that last episode 2 weeks ago about dating. It was just much more personal. And even then, I didn't even share that much. But that's why I want to go, I think, with my podcast from now on. So let me know what you think about that. But I think I'm going to make it a bit more fun and interesting that way. And it's a different way to get to know each other and for you to get to know me, I think, a little bit better, apart from some travel photos and tips you can find in my course. So to start that, I think today I want to go over a bit more about something that people have been telling me quite a lot. It's a comment that I get often on my social media posts as well, is that when they say, "Oh, you're so brave," and people say that about the solo traveling part or working for myself, but also kind of taking these risks, for example, with social media and putting myself out there a bit more. And to be honest, I don't feel brave. When I started solo traveling, I wasn't that scared even. So maybe to me it also wasn't that big of a deal. But I don't feel like I was brave. You know, I think I have this idea that things will work out. Maybe a bit of me being naive as well and just trusting that it will work out. And I think that's how I do things, with this idea that regardless of what happens, one, I'll figure it out. No matter what kind of shit thing happens when traveling, or no matter what other people say or do, I will figure it out. I'll fix it and I'll be okay. That's kind of my mindset. And I think if you don't have that, then doing any of the things that, or many of the things that I've done, like solo traveling or working for yourself or starting a company or taking some type of risk, whatever that looks like, it's going to be almost impossible. Because if you don't trust in your own ability to deal with the situation and to fix it in case it does go, I don't know, wrong, then yeah, of course, then you're going to be scared, and then it's going to be a lot harder to take that risk. So I don't think it's just me being brave, because I was scared, and I was, I had a lot of doubts, but I also had the confidence that I would be fine. I think they had a name for that for a while. I don't know, a couple years ago, someone also, there were people on the internet, I think, talking about this term of like the lucky girl syndrome. And I resonated with that a lot because I do feel lucky. I feel like life generally works out for me. And that's not to say that things don't go wrong. And sometimes I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Everything's falling apart. And there's moments where I don't feel great. But generally, I do feel lucky in life. And I think I am. So that's why I'm not brave. I think I'm just maybe more delusional. I don't know, maybe that's like the secret to all of this, but yeah, that helped me a lot. Even if things go wrong, I will fix it and I'll figure it out and I'll be okay. I think that's the mindset that people need to have. The same thing went for this podcast that I launched. I didn't have followers. I didn't think anyone was going to care about what I was saying. I mean, some random person that decided to start a podcast. And I mean, it seems like everyone has a podcast. And the more I thought about it, the more I didn't want to do it. Because the more I was telling myself that it would fail, that it would be cringy, that I would need to be ashamed of it, or but I've also learned to just do it. Like if I have an idea, I should just do it. Because if it fails, I did build something for myself that I can be proud of, that I did it, even if it did fail, even if no one's going to listen to this podcast. I did make it and I did learn something from it. And starting that podcast also is what helped get me, I think, to those 10,000 followers, which, I mean, I know it's still very small, but I am still very proud of that and I worked hard for it. But just doing the work without worrying if it was going to fail, I think that also helped me a lot in just doing it. Because in the end, what's the worst thing that could happen? The worst thing is I make a podcast, I record everything, and no one listens. Okay. Also, no one then knows I failed, right? No one knows that my podcast sucks. no one listened. So there's nothing to be embarrassed about. And kind of the opposite happened. I'm not saying that my podcast gets thousands of listeners. It's just, 50 to 100 a week. But that's 50 to 100 people that do enjoy listening to me rambling about life, which I think is pretty amazing. And it's what helped me grow online as well. So that again, I think is just this mindset that it also just doesn't matter if it fails. And I used that also on my first trip. Not just thinking, oh, if anything goes wrong, I'll fix it, but also if I don't like it or I am actually too scared once I'm there or I miss home too much, it's not a fail to go home. It just means I tried something new and it wasn't for me. There's no big shame in that. And I have cut trips short because I wasn't feeling well or I missed home or I wasn't happy. And that to me also was not a failure because I tried something new. I can't say it doesn't feel great in the moment, but I did just try. So, yeah, again, I am not brave. I think I'm just confident and delusional enough to just go for it and try. Because I am scared of doing all these things. And there have been a lot of things that I talk myself out of because of those fears. Plus I don't identify with that because I also get anxious when I have to do the stupidest little things. That like I also get social anxiety when I have to go and ask a question somewhere or I have to make something happen or I don't know where to go and in those moments I also don't feel brave and I, don't think I am then. So yeah, I don't know. It's not just don't look at me and think, oh, she is so brave. I'm not. I'm just as scared as you probably are or have been in situations. And I've had people help me with that. I've had to overcome some things myself. I've also, again, not done things because I was scared. But those couple of mindset things that I just said, those really helped me, and they might help you as well if you're thinking about solo traveling, or starting a business, or launching that podcast, or putting content out on social media, because that has been a completely different experience. In the past month, I've gotten my first hate comments, which, I mean, I know, of course, social media, it's public, everyone has their opinion. But that started at like not even 3,000 followers, like a reach of nothing. And I already got some hate comments from people saying that I'm desperate, that I'll be single forever, that I shouldn't complain about anything, that what I'm doing is stupid. For one, I don't even really understand why these people take the time out of their day to make someone else feel bad. I just don't understand how that works in other people's brains. I don't like this girl's content, so I'm gonna make her feel bad for it. When I don't like something, I just look at it and go, must not be the target audience. Maybe that's also because I studied marketing, but in my head, I'm like, I'm not the target audience. This wasn't meant for me. That's why I don't like it. It's as simple as that. There's so much on the internet. Find something you do like. But yeah, and that is now something else apparently that I have to deal with, which again, I just I see it as almost a bit of entertainment, almost like it doesn't hurt me because I know that I am doing something that I really enjoy. And if someone else doesn't get that, it wasn't meant for them. And if they think what I am doing is stupid and desperate, well, fine. Then again, it's not for them. And that doesn't mean that what I'm doing is wrong or that I should stop. Because of those like 5 hate comments, I also got hundreds of really nice and positive and encouraging ones, which have made my day. But yeah, I just don't understand what goes on in those people's minds. But that's maybe for another day I'll go into that a bit more. But yeah. Anyway, I think that is a wrap for this episode. Again, thank you so much for listening. I do think that going into a bit more personal direction with these podcasts is more fun, creates more connection. It is a bit more of me just rambling and talking about my life and my thoughts and what happened in that past week or what I've been thinking about. And yeah, I hope that resonates and that you enjoy it. And if there's something specific that you want me to talk about that you were wondering, then let me know in the comments wherever you're listening or my Instagram. And then I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.